This film is based on a true story. It portrays the twilight years of the eccentric artist Louis Wain, who painted cats. He made the world a better place by elevating the status of cats in society and changing the way people saw many things. Victorian England was defined by social prejudice and a nauseating stench everywhere, but not only that, it was also a land of innovation and scientific discovery. Many brilliant minds of the time persistently studied the nature of electricity, hoping to harness its power for practical use. But for the young Louis Wain, electricity meant something else, something so unusual and strange that the human mind could scarcely comprehend it. The events then take us to the year 1881. Louis is traveling by train, along with other passengers who are transporting their animals from an agricultural fair. Louis is a freelance illustrator and is also working on a couple of patents. In the carriage he meets Dan Ryder. The man asks how much it would cost to illustrate his dog, Cleopatra. Louis replies with a smile that it will be completely free. Dan is very grateful. Usually his sister attends the fair, but she is unwell at the moment. The drawing will cheer her up. Louis comes from an aristocratic family. Since his father passed away, Louis has become the sole breadwinner and is forced to work hard until all 5 of his younger sisters are married. Sir William Ingram, the owner of the publishing house Louis works for, is outraged by his idiotic behavior. For example, during the last agricultural fair, he climbed into an enclosure with an aggressive bull, causing a commotion. On the other hand, Louis draws very quickly and with great skill, so Ingram is willing to offer him a permanent position. But Louis is forced to decline, because in that case he would have no time to work on his electrical patents. In addition, Louis writes music, but he does not succeed at it, although he certainly has enthusiasm to spare. Louis proved to be completely unprepared for the responsibility that fell on his shoulders when his father died 18 months ago. He is like a big child. But Louis is the only man in the family, so it has become his duty. His beloved sister Caroline would be far better suited to the role of head of the family. She has long been disappointed in their rather eccentric and bohemian mother. Moreover, Caroline is unhappy that her brother refused the position of staff illustrator, because their expenses already exceed his salary by half. A governess, Emily Richardson, helps with the upbringing of the girls. A mutual affection arises between her and Louis, something that does not escape Caroline's notice. And she is not pleased with this turn of events at all. Caroline even suggests that the governess change rooms, just so she will not live on the same floor as Louis, but Emily insists that it does not bother her. Before meeting Emily, Louis had never even thought about romantic relationships, despite having tried and failed as an art teacher, a musician, and of course a freelance illustrator. Now he is confused, unaware that Emily feels the same way. The woman fears public condemnation. After all, she is merely a governess. Mrs. Dufresne, their neighbor and the chief gossip on this side of the River Thames, has already begun casting disapproving glances at her. His love for Emily makes Louis change his mind and accept Ingram's offer to work as a staff illustrator for the newspaper, otherwise their family will no longer be able to afford the governess's services. Louis does all this for the chance to be with his beloved. No matter how hard her brother tries for the family, Caroline remains dissatisfied and constantly criticizes him. Yet he never responds harshly, being gentle by nature. Emily is deeply indignant when Louis enters her room without knocking. The man, however, means no harm. He is used to living with his sisters and has no idea how to behave with women outside the family. Louis merely wanted to invite Emily to the theater. This instantly melts her heart, and she accepts. Louis has always been self-conscious about his cleft lip, so he hid it behind his mustache. But at last he gathers the courage and shaves it off. He wants to be completely honest with Emily. Since childhood, Louis has been tormented by nightmares connected with water. This partly finds expression in his creative work. Louis is very nervous the first time he appears before Emily without his mustache. She tells him that she has always considered him handsome and that his lip does not spoil him in the slightest. No one has ever said anything like that to Louis before. Caroline is always as dissatisfied and complaining. Why did her brother not consult her before spending money on theater tickets, especially since all the girls will be going as well? Caroline also dislikes the fact that Louis has shaved off his mustache, as this lowers his chances of finding a wealthy wife. During the play The Tempest, Louis feels on the verge of a panic attack, recalling his nightmares about drowning. He hurriedly leaves the auditorium. Emily follows him into the men's lavatory, despite the impropriety of it. The woman comforts Louis, saying that she too has nightmares, though not about water, but about being unable to escape from a confined space. Emily understands him like no one else. Their kiss is inevitable. Very quickly, rumors that Louis and Emily were seen together in the men's lavatory spread throughout high society. Mrs. Dufresne makes a spiteful joke, saying that Miss Richardson seems to have lost her way, in 2 lavatories. Be that as it may, the incident brings Louis and Emily even closer. Caroline, however, has no intention of tolerating such behavior from a governess and dismisses the woman, giving her 3 days to move out. Emily enters Louis's room to thank him for everything and to say goodbye. But he does not care what people might think, because his feelings for Emily are sincere. Thus begins their awkward yet deeply sensual romance. The difference in social standing provokes an ambiguous reaction in society. It is considered unacceptable, a relationship between a gentleman and a woman from the servant class. The situation is further complicated by the fact that Emily is 10 years older than Louis. But he pays little attention to such foolish prejudices, and in January 1884 they marry. The couple is very happy, savoring every moment spent together. The marriage strains his relationship with his sisters. Nevertheless, Louis continues to support them financially and sends a check every week. To earn more, he takes on private commissions as a dog portraitist, visiting dukes and duchesses, lords and ladies, as well as their spoiled pets. Louis also continues working for Ingram at the publishing house. Half a year passes. Louis and Emily live an entirely normal, though socially condemned, married life. But the idyll collapses when Emily is diagnosed with terminal cancer. The woman receives the news with dignity, however painful it may be. She has only just begun to rejoice in life. That same day the couple hears a plaintive meowing in their garden. It is a stray kitten. They take the little one in, and give him a name, Peter. Louis sees how much joy their pet brings his wife. At the time it was uncommon to keep cats as pets rather than for catching mice. Most people, especially those of the upper classes, kept dogs. But Louis sees nothing strange in it. Like everyone else, Ingram notices that Louis's mental state has begun to deteriorate as his wife's illness progresses. The publishing house is not experiencing its best days, so Louis's services will not be needed as frequently as before, particularly with the rise of photography, which is gaining popularity. Ingram advises Louis to spend as much time as possible with Emily while it is not yet too late. Because when she is gone, it will be very painful. Caring for Peter helps Emily distract herself from the terrible illness relentlessly consuming her. Louis paints portraits of their pet. They even take Peter with them on walks. Time passes, and the kitten grows into an adult cat. Louis remains obsessed with electricity, believing that it connects the past, present, and future. Thus when Emily is no longer physically present, she will not disappear entirely. The woman promises her beloved husband that she will always be beside him whenever he needs her. Emily's condition continues to worsen rapidly. To cheer his wife, Louis shows her the many portraits of Peter. Emily is absolutely delighted and believes they must show them to Ingram. Louis doubts that Ingram will appreciate them, yet he decides to listen to his wife. After reviewing Louis's work, William suggests publishing the cat illustrations in the Christmas issue to lift the reader's spirits. Anthropomorphic cats are quite unusual. Although many readers would prefer to see dogs, Louis finds something in the cats. Perhaps it is because he himself is in part an outsider. Ingram is surprised at how Louis managed to create such cheerful images during such a difficult time in his life. Christmas Eve arrives. Louis's cat illustrations quickly win people's hearts. Throughout history, cats had been regarded as mythical creatures, companions of witches, and Louis is the first to see in them gentle, fluffy friends. Cats simply need love, much like many lonely people. Shortly before her death, Emily says that one day keeping cats as pets will no longer be so unusual. It is unbearable for Louis to think of the day when Emily will be gone. The time spent with her, the evening games with Peter by the fireplace, these are the best days of his life. Louis does not know why life on this earth had been so difficult for him since birth, but with Emily's arrival everything changed. She makes the world better, kinder, warmer. Louis wants to thank her for that, while there is still time. Emily quietly says that the world is beautiful even without her, beautiful in itself, and that it was Louis who helped her understand this. She asks him never to give up, no matter what, because there is so much beauty around them. Louis is capable of perceiving this beauty and sharing it with others. The next morning after that conversation, Emily dies. Louis, who has just prepared breakfast for his wife, cannot comprehend it. He is endlessly alone once again. A modest funeral follows. Then in 1891, Louis's cat illustrations continue to enjoy immense popularity and are sold as postcards, posters, and more. Through his art, he suppresses the pain of his loss. Almost without realizing it, he completely changes society's attitude toward cats. Even aristocrats now keep cats as pets. Louis gains many admirers. He attends cat shows and cat clubs, bringing along his devoted friend Peter and chief source of inspiration to every event. Louis is even named president of the National Cat Club. Alas, being naive, Louis fails to secure the copyrights to his works, and his family sinks into debt. Caroline shouts at her brother, saying that he is like a child and that his selfishness has condemned them to a life of poverty. Louis should have married a wealthy woman instead of following his feelings. But this is not the only trial to befall their family. Marie begins to suffer from progressive schizophrenia. Confused and distressed, Louis goes to Ingram for advice, although he has not worked for him recently, having taken commissions from various publications. Sir William owns a large country estate and offers Louis's family the chance to stay there for some time. A change of surroundings would be beneficial for Marie. With endless gratitude, Louis accepts Ingram's offer. At first everything goes well. All of Louis's sisters remain spinsters, and each of them dreams of marrying well, except for Marie, who appears distant. Everyone understands that her remission will not last long. To provide for the family, Louis signs autographs, putting his name on cat books so beloved by the public. Peter remains the closest being to Louis. The man even feels that he has begun to understand the language of cats. At the time it was not customary to talk to cats, though for people of our era this is entirely ordinary. The year 1900, the turn of the century. Marie's schizophrenia progresses. Not one of the sisters has found a suitor, so Louis remains the sole breadwinner. Soon they are forced to make the inevitable decision, to place Marie in a psychiatric institution. Shortly afterward, Peter, Louis's teacher and best friend, dies of old age. Louis's heart is broken, he weeps incessantly for several years, yet at the same time he makes a new and astonishing discovery. The more he suffers, the more beautiful his works become. And although Louis never succeeds in understanding the nature of electricity, he understands cats as no person living on Earth ever has before him. Louis's family grows concerned about his mental state, as he constantly puts forward mad ideas connected with electricity. Nevertheless, this does not stop him from traveling to New York. The American newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst offers him a position as a cartoonist with a generous fee. Mr. Hearst also undertakes to fully sponsor the journey. Louis feels that he must help America, which lags years behind in its attitude toward cats. And Louis will not allow Caroline to prevent him from fulfilling his potential. Before Louis leaves, his mother tells him that he may run away from his family, but he cannot run away from his grief. The year is 1907. Louis finds success in New York, passers-by recognize him. But what truly astonishes Louis after his move is the abundance of electricity. It is literally everywhere, illuminating the streets and houses. The renowned newspaper editor Max Case is sincerely impressed by Louis's illustrated cats. People call him the Cat Man. Meanwhile, Louis himself slowly descends into madness, hearing Emily's voice in his head. As his mental state deteriorates, his paintings become increasingly surreal. Louis believes that only through understanding cats, how they have been misjudged and wronged for centuries because of deep-rooted prejudices, can one come to understand people. Soon Louis receives a letter bearing sad news. His mother has died after a prolonged struggle with influenza. In the letter, Caroline also implores her brother to return home, setting aside all their past disagreements. After all, they are not getting any younger. On the return journey across the ocean, Louis suffers from hallucinations. He feels as though he is drowning. In despair, Louis calls out to his mother, and then he hears Emily's voice urging him not to give up. The year 1914. Poor Marie repeats her mother's fate and dies of influenza. The heart of Sir William Ingram, Louis's kind friend and mentor, finally gives way under the strain of gout. The Wains are forced to leave Ingram's estate and move into a rented flat in London. After falling from a bus, Louis strikes his head and falls into a coma, during which he experiences visions from the year 1999. When Louis regains consciousness, he begins designing futuristic cat toys, but the war with Germany renders all his efforts futile. Louis balances on the edge between reality and illusion. The only thing that unites these two worlds of his is cats. In 1917, Caroline falls gravely ill. Before her death, the woman tells her brother how deeply proud she is of him. Louis suffers a severe nervous breakdown. His three remaining sisters are forced to place him in a psychiatric institution. Even there, already forgotten, Louis continues to draw cats. The year 1925. Dan Ryder inspects that very psychiatric hospital to ensure that the staff treat the patients well. Suddenly Mr. Ryder recognizes Louis Wain. Many years earlier, they met on a train, when Louis drew a portrait of Dan Ryder's dog. Louis weeps because there are no cats here. He is so lonely. Dan Ryder sincerely sympathizes with the forgotten artist and wants to help him somehow. With the support of Louis's sisters, Mr. Ryder establishes a fund in support of Mr. Wain and raises enough money to transfer him to a more comfortable hospital in the countryside, where patients are allowed to keep cats for peace of mind and to walk beyond the walls of the institution. For Louis, electricity, like cats, has always meant far more than it did for others. He saw the beautiful, unfathomable nature of this world and carried his love for Emily throughout his life. In the final scene, we see Louis walking into a landscape he himself has painted, where Emily promised before her death that she would wait for him.